Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a review of the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and boy was it good. This book is an adult horror, thriller, paranormal fiction. It's my first Grady Hendrix book and I will be reading all of them very soon because after this book I just know I need to read more of them because it was just so good. So my rating for this book was 4.5 stars. I just needed a little bit more for it to be 5 stars, but it was still really good and I really enjoyed it. I read it in 2 days and I couldn't put it down. The first day I literally had to force myself to stop to go to sleep. So I did really enjoy this book. There was a little something missing for me, but that's okay. It was still really good. So as usual, there will be a non-spoiler section and then a spoiler section at the end. And to start off with our non-spoilers, I'll explain a little bit about what it's about and some of my thoughts about why I liked it, why I didn't like it without spoilers. So this follows Patricia Campbell, a housewife in Charleston in about late 80s, early 90s. She, in the very beginning, is in like a really crappy book club and she gets to join a better one where they're reading thriller, more true crime books. They're all very fascinated with, true crime, as most people are. And so the only thing really that's good in her life is this book club. Like, her teenage kids are terrible. Her husband is like never home, and so like the book club is the one thing that gets her through the day. Then a man moves in across the street. His name is James Harris, and Patricia starts feeling completely different in her life when she meets him. He starts coming to the house until children on the other side of town start to go missing, and she starts to get suspicious. And is it just the horror books, or is she right in her suspicions? She begins to suspect if James is connected to these, and things kind of pick up from there. So the things I liked about this, it was a very quick read for me. I couldn't put it down. I was very stressed out and I needed to know what was next. It kept leaving me hanging and I was like, okay, I need to figure out more. I need to know more. Like, well, what is happening? Are they gonna, figure it out? I really also like that he pitches this book as pitting his mom against Dracula. That's really cute, and it kind of is true. Like, it's very nice to see like a mom's perspective, or like the parents' perspective. A lot of like things we like see from children's perspective, or teenagers that go do all these crazy wild adventures, but like, what would your mom, if she was in a book club in the 80s, like how would she handle it if something was going wrong in her neighborhood? And that's exactly what this is, so I thought that was really cool. I like how the bad guy is very charismatic. In the beginning, everyone loves him, and you like want to like him. Like, you want to believe there's nothing wrong with him, because let's be real, bad people in real life don't always look bad and they don't always seem bad at first. A lot of times the people who are not great in your life start out really charismatic and really friendly, and you really like them and you want to be friends and you hold on really tight to those good times. Even if they're not necessarily a great person, you just kind of look past it. So I feel like that's a pretty like good portrayal of the way that like people in our life who are bad may actually be portrayed to us at first, and the reason why we're attracted to those people anyways. I also really enjoyed that a lot of these characters are still flawed. A lot of them do really crappy things, but that's like what part of being human is. It's kind of boring when you read characters who are like completely perfect and they never do anything wrong. It seemed very realistic, and it also, giving them flaws, gave room for character development and room for these characters to grow, which some of them did, which was really cool to see and fun. Some of the things I did not like about this book. The husbands, or the men in this book, are so anti-women. The women are not listened to at all. They're basically like push them aside because they're like, oh, they're girls, they're bored housewives reading their books, and it's made them want to stir up trouble, and it's very frustrating. Like, it really made me frustrated to like sit there and listen to their husbands like act like they were crazy and undermine them every step of the way. So that really irked me. But like, I also feel like that may really have been what it was like to be a housewife in the 80s, but like really made me angry. Not that I didn't like this, but a keynote to add, it is very gory. There's one particular scene that involves a cockroach and an ear, and it is disgusting. It was so gross. Like, I literally had to skim through that part. I was like, can't do that. It is very, like, there are fun, lighthearted moments, but whenever it does get to the really, like, hard parts, it's pedal to the metal, full throttle. Like, there's no, it's there. So that was a lot. And, like, yes, I liked having flawed characters, but also her friends are kind of crappy, like, the first half of the book. Like, some of them, like, dang, you suck as friends. But character development, so it was okay. Okay, so now I'm going to give my spoiler thoughts on this book. I felt so bad for Patricia. No one would listen to her, and she knew what was going on the whole time. It was very obvious from the get-go that James was bad, and James was a vampire, even if she didn't want to admit that at first. And it was really crappy. Her friends kept finding ways to undermine her every time she, like, was seriously thinking it. It kind of became the you know, boy who cried wolf with her. They didn't want to hear it anymore because they kept getting in trouble with their husbands. But it made me sad for her. Like, no one was on her team. Her kids were yelling at her. Her husband hated her. And from what she finds out, he's been cheating on her. And no one will listen to her when she thinks that the kids are in trouble until it's like things have already happened. It's already gone too far. I loved Miss Green. I thought she was really cool. And she was not scared of nobody. She ain't afraid of no ghost. I really liked her character. And I also really liked Kitty. Kitty was so, like, fun and, like, made everything more lighthearted, I feel like. I really enjoyed Kitty's character because she was the one who was, like, a hot mess express, basically, the whole time. But when it came down to it, she was, you know, there for her friends. The rat scene. If Ragtag didn't make it, I was going to quit reading the book. But gladly he did. That whole scene was just a lot for me. Poor Miss Mary, like, she was gross but that's not her fault. She was mentally, you know, going. But, like, rats. Ugh. Also, like, Patricia. Your kid's telling you there's a man on the roof, and James Harris just happens to show up and save you. Does it not occur to you a little earlier, maybe, that he's the man that was on the roof? Just food for thought. Like, really, like, that was a little bit, I was like, could you not put two and two together that may have been him? Okay. It was very obvious from the get-go that he was sketch, and I know it was, like, trying to build it up for her, but I don't know why it took her so long to figure it out, honestly. Like, I know that he was charismatic and she wanted to believe that he was great and he was doing great things for their family, but come on now. Also, very gruesome. They hack him into pieces and put him in urns and, like, say sorry, and it was very gory. But he got what he deserved because he was killing little kids. He preyed on Patricia's child, Corey, and I'm just really glad that he got in the end, honestly. I hated him the whole time. I hate men who are actually terrible or vampires. And they seem like they're nice people and everyone else around you likes them and thinks they're great when, like, you know they're not. Like, you know 100% they're not. And so that was, like, really irked me the whole time. I was like, I hate that these people like him and are taking up for him. Like, he's the bad guy. Like, how is it not obvious that he's the bad one? So that was just irked me the whole time. I really do, though, appreciate that in the end, like, they all did come together as friends to help one another. Even Grace, who, like, left and acted like she didn't want any part of it, she still showed up because deep down they were her friends and she knew that it needed help and she knew that, like, she needed to be there. And so they all kind of come together in the end. Slick's whole deal made me really depressed, and that was a hard scene to read too. Like, I don't even want to talk about it, but I just really liked the way that these ladies grew this relationship, and, like, things may have changed throughout the years, but they came back to, like, what they originally had at the end, and that was really cool. And I think it's really nice. Like, this idea that they're in this nice suburb and like their lives are all perfect, and when things go bad they want to keep pretending like they're perfect until they can't, and so they all decide to do something about it, and it's really cool. I really liked it. So this book was pretty good. There is gore, there is action, there is laughs. Well, I mean, I'm not a laugher, but there was a lot of lighthearted moments. Some really cool characters, accurate teenagers, okay? Teenagers act like that. Completely 100% nailed it. And like, they did the southern white housewife very well. I don't know, I liked it, and it was fun. Also, it was really cool like seeing them reference other like true crime books like the Ypsilanti murders and you know, Ted Bundy, Helter Skelter, In Cold Blood. That's really fun. It's always fun when there's like little trinkets of things. The whole first page is talking about like the Golden Girls and like the Crosby Show and all these things that are happening in the 80s. So all these little references and cues are like really fun. Like, I love it when there's little things that you're like, oh, I know about that already. Like, it's not just like a random world, when it's things like you like can say, oh my gosh, like I relate, like, well, not relate maybe, but like you know what it is, and it's kind of fun. I don't know, I guess that's just me. But overall, I gave this book a 4.5 stars, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's a great read for this spooky season, and I highly recommend you pick it up. Thank you so much for watching another one of my reviews, and I will see ya in the next one. Bye.